Friends inside my head, like losing power. The shadows start to spread, this food is sour. Tastes different when you're dead. I need a shower, cold water on my head. I'm running out of friends inside my mind. I'm drinking out of Coronas with a lime. My thoughts get louder, and I forgot the time. I listen out of my headphones to Sublime. Running out of friends inside my mind. Don't know how I found them, they helped me kill the time. A quarter pounder sounds pretty good tonight. Another hour, yeah, that just passes by. I could stay awake for a century, a memory. I don't think that I could take more than a breath from me. Nothing's left for me. Running out of friends inside my head, like losing power. The shadows start to spread, this food is sour. Tastes different when you're dead. I need a shower, cold water on my head. I'm running out of friends inside my head, like losing power. The shadows start to spread, this food is sour. Tastes different when you're dead. I need a shower, cold water on my head. I'm running out of friends inside my mind. I'm drinking out of Coronas with a lime. My thoughts get louder, and I forgot the time. I listen out of my headphones to Sublime. I'm running out of friends inside my mind. Don't know how I found them, they helped me kill the time. A quarter pounder sounds pretty good tonight. Another hour, yeah, that just passes by. I could stay awake for a century, a memory. I don't think that I could take more than a breath from me. Nothing's left for me. Running out of friends inside my head, like losing power. The shadows start to spread, this food is sour. Tastes different when you're dead. I need a shower, cold water on my head. I'm running out of Friends inside my head, like losing power. The shadows start to spread. This food is sour. Tastes different when you're dead. I need a shower. Cold water on my head. I'm running out of friends inside my mind. I'm drinking out of Coronas with a lime. My thoughts get louder, and I forgot the time. I listen out of my headphones to supply. Running out of friends inside my mind. Don't know how I found them. They helped me kill the time. A quarter pounder sounds pretty good tonight. Another hour, yeah, that just passes by. I could stay awake for a century, a memory. I don't think that I could take more than a breath from me. Nothing's left for me.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Racers Elite Network. Tonight, from the Pocono Mountains, heart in the northeast of the wonderful state of Pennsylvania, you arrive here in the rolling hills of Pennsylvania. The next stop on the collision course up tonight, the Racers Elite Next Gen Series gets ready to fire up primetime. Make sure Grandma's got plenty of kernel-free popcorn as we get racks stacked, ready to rock and roll right here on the only, one and only, Racers Elite Network. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Want to thank everyone for joining us. Want to give a big welcome to my new partner in crime on Thursday evenings, the man, the myth, the legend, Ron Piles. How you doing tonight, my friend?
Well, not so much a myth legend, but I'll take that entry. Thanks. Great to be here with you, Matt. Fantastic evening to stay warm in the basement. Definitely a lot warmer in Pocono here on the sim as it is actually out there in the the live world. As you know, between you and me and our geographical locations, we've got snow.
That's a great point. I mean, thank God we're in a simulator because the weather outside looks absolutely delightful. However, the reality is they are in a polar plunge up there in the Northeast. Bitter temperatures coming up this weekend, could be in the single digits, but not the case here in the sim world, as we're about 8 minutes and 33 seconds on the board through qualifying. Remember, in Racers Elite, we had a 10-minute qualifying session as we get now ready to send it down trackside and pick up with Kensley Smith in that 15 machine, as he has it currently out there on the racetrack, currently clocked in that 6th place position, Ron.
Kinsley Smith in the 6th place position. Going to be for the lap time here. Sorry if I'm what I was looking at. Kinsley Smith on a 54.445 second lap time. So
Yeah.
I find Kinsley here.
Yeah, Kensley has a great lap going. I believe he is on his first lap as well, so we'll see if he can turn it up just a little bit more. Typically, we always see Kinsley in that Michael Waltrip-inspired Napa Know-How machine. A little bit different vibe on his ride tonight. And man, Ron, he was getting all of it coming off at turn 3 there.
Yeah, last time I was here at Pocono was in a truck series, actually. It wasn't too long ago. Actually picked up that win with another league. But Kinsley, he's hitting these marks right. Just got to find maybe a different braking point to help him get to that tunnel turn a little better.
Yeah, you mentioned that tunnel turn, and this racetrack, not like the others. These straightaways, they are log fierce and high speeds. In each of these corners, not like the other. And There's only 3 corners here tonight. Every other stop on the schedule has 4. So these drivers are really going to have their hands cut out for them as we officially wrap up that qualifying session. And it looks like that's going to put the 93 of Zach Lockett on the pole, Ron, with the best qualifying effort of the 54.25. As that field now gets ready to get racked, stacked behind that iRacing.com pace car. While we have time, let's go ahead and throw up the race information tonight. We'll throw that up on the big screen so everyone can follow along with us at home. Again, the place, Log Pond, Pennsylvania, home of Pocono Racetrack. This track length officially clocks in at 2.5 miles. Current track temperature, it's a hot one, over the century mark at 106 degrees Fahrenheit, 72 degrees ambient air temperature, water drain about 44%, partly cloudy skies, and that wind, Ron, could be a factor tonight as it's currently steady at 13 miles an hour. They're going to have to pay attention to that coming out of the tunnel turn, as that could be that invisible force that tries to push those drivers into that outside retaining wall.
Yeah, most definitely could be a big force there. Even at 14 miles an hour, especially in the draft, if you're following somebody, you might get some dirty air. So clean air might be a key to picking up a win in this race or making passes to finish in the top 10 at least.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, this next-gen race car, nothing like the cars in the past. This is a completely radical new design. You know, this race car makes downforce a lot differently. There's really nothing the same about this car that carries over from the generations in the past. We go now to a 17-inch single lug tire. All, like I said, all the downforce is generated underneath this race car. So air, to your point, makes all the difference. In that dirty air, if you're back in it, you're going to have your hands full as that field now begins to roll off here behind that iRacing.com pace car. Those drivers begin to hit the racetrack. Let's go ahead and go through the starting lineup here this evening. Again, as I mentioned, out of North Carolina, Zach Lockett's going to have the pole with a blistering lap, as Dawson Wolferts in that 84 is going to have the outside front row.
This is Racing's 55. Truth Hook will start third. His outside from Driving Extreme Incorporated's 15 will be Kinsley Smith.
Starting in that 5th place position, Jacob Plank, and outside of him in that 19 machine, that's going to be Curtis Eckert.
Starting inside of number 4 is Andrew Teft in the 98. And to his outside, Troy Thomas in the 3 will start in position number 8.
P9 belongs to the 25 ride of Paul Shaw, and outside of him in the 20 from Arlington, Michigan, going to be Diego Rodriguez rounding out the top 10.
Starting inside of row number 6 from Driving Extreme 8 and 13 will be Brandon Honeycutt. And to his outside, Hayden Malcolm Sim Racing. Hayden Malcolm in the 91 will start P12.
Jesse in the 69 type Fox machine is going to roll off here 13th, while Leroy in that 42 is going to roll off here P14 out of Delaware.
I get jumbled here. Let's see, Leroy. I got Alex Teft in 15th, and Josh Freed will start P16 and 39.
Thank you, Ron. 17th belongs to the Colonel, a.k.a. Kirby Wade Scott in 18th. Aiden Howard's going to roll off just inside the top 20 in that 19th place position.
You got Ryan Coker in 20th, and Alan Bergeon in the 00 will start P21 as the pace car is going to dip off, and the green flag is going to come to us here very shortly.
That's right. It's time to wipe the dust, kick the clutch, hope that rear end doesn't bust. Make sure Grano's got pretty free popcorn as we get ready to set it off here in Pocono. Green flag in the air. Those glorious V8s come roaring to life. Let's get this thing underway. Green flag action right here on Racers Elite Network. And it's a 2x2 side-by-side affair through the first turn run.
After the first turn, the drivers need to fill this 14-mile-an-hour wind gust in a side-by-side racing pattern, and as they battle for position down into the tunnel turn, and it looks like we're going to have the 93 of Zach Lockett's going to take the lead. Everybody's going to try to settle in here as they get to the tunnel turn. We'll see how they play out here with the first time. We got one on the wall already.
Oh, that got scary there. The 15 of Kinsley Smith almost got up close and personal with that Kevin Harvick-inspired 84 machine, and they're still side-by-side.
Yeah, side-by-side with the 55 and the 84. That's Truth Hoke and Dawson Alferts there. And it looks like Alfert's going to take the position for the time being. We'll see if Hoke can make a run here going down into 1.
Yeah, Truth Hoke always going to be on the aggressive side of things here early, as he understands how important positions are here in this series, and he's going to send it downstairs like grandma's business after church on Sunday. It's a John Moore special coming off the backstretch.
Yeah, the Wrangler 55 not giving up easy here is Jacob Plank making a pass. There's Hoax kind of gone backwards about 2 or 3 positions already, and keeping that track position is going to be a little bit hard to do with a field this size with about a 60 lap race. So you kind of in patience mode, but you got to be in go mode at the same time. So it's kind of take it as you can get it.
That's a great point, Ron, and it's tough for a race car driver to have that balance and patience. And you kind of see, to your point, what happened to the 55 here is he's already hemorrhaged a couple spots as the 15 of Kinsley Smith gets cheated. What a save by the 15 as he was on a collision course with that safer barrier. How in the world did he get that Camaro right at the right way? It's absolutely incredible.
So it's definitely a great balance between the throttle pedal and the brake, and some great brake bias adjustment. Probably while he's mid-spin to keep that thing from getting into the inside wall, but great hands there by the 15 to keep that car rolling here. Even though he's going to lose a wholesale amount of spots, he's got to remember it's still a little early in this race, but he's still going to be aggressive.
Well, and that's just it. That's the silver lining. Certainly, Kinsley Smith is going to lead a ton of positions here as he now finds himself outside of the top 10. But to your point, Ron, now the 15 just got to regain his composure and get back into that momentum, that rhythmic action out there on the racetrack, which these drivers are trying to transition to right now as he's side by side with his shake and bake partner. Contact coming off the wall as it got really tight. They're coming off a 3 once again.
Yeah, turn 3 is always a tight one. That between the tunnel turn and turn 3, they're always quite interesting depending on the way that you take your entry. And right now it looks like Kinsley's got a great drive there through the center of the corner, trying to get his composure regathered. And yeah, he's going to make a move on the 20 right now of Diego Rodriguez and potentially make a pass here before they get to the tunnel turn.
Yeah, Kinsley Smith has got the dial set to kill as he pulls side by side, and he's going to fire off into that turn number 2 here at Pocono, trying to carry all that momentum off the corner. Nice, beautiful pass there. Well executed there by 15. And he has, I'll tell you what, an entourage of cars in his crosshairs, as you can see the urgency there as he tries to regain that track position that he lost here early, and he almost smacks the fence again.
Yeah, he used that momentum, the draft, and the aerodynamics of these next-gen cars as he moved up against the wall to make that pass. And I got in that slipstream. Meanwhile, Zach Lockett has stretched his lead out to about almost 3/4 of a second with the race lead.
Yeah, as we send it back up to the points, we're covering that intense battling there about mid-pack on back. Zach Lockett, to your point, has opened it up over 0.6 of a second as that TRD-powered machine carries the torch here in the early going. And again, the North Carolina man at the helm. Toyota leads, and then you have the first Mustang in line, up 3 positions from where he started, Jacob Plain, and then you have Dawson in the 84. I mean, from a manufacturer standpoint, I mean, this is as good as it gets right now.
Yeah, most definitely. I was keeping an eye on that in qualifying, and Zach was one of 8 Toyotas that are currently in the field to be able to run up there. And I was looking to see who had the fastest lap last time by, and it looked like that lap actually was Dawson Alford's with a 54.355.
Just as you said, the fast man out there on lap number 6 with a 54.35. In fact, what do you say we jump on board with him? Let's step down inside the cockpit.
Yeah, Dawson running a great line here, getting around the speedway and hitting the tunnel turn mark just right. And trying to get that lap time. We'll have to be able to keep an eye on those tires too. Is like a little bit squirrely there, but he's still going to be able to maintain it going forward.
That's a great point there, and I've noticed throughout the course of this practice session, the car seemed like it was translating towards the loose side of the spectrum, and as we go on board, when we ride along here with the 84, you can see that he is indeed fighting a loose condition. It seems to be the front of the case out of his windshield as well, as the 35 of Jacob Plank was doing the jig. Again, as they come firing down this very long straightaway, hard braking zone here, and he is going to send it in hard to the corner as we widen things back out. Battle for position, check the box. Dawson back up in second.
And also a great pass there into the second position. Car getting the wall a little bit coming off the tunnel turn, but I imagine it's probably going to be kind of the story of the night as we roll through our laps. Is lap 7 here in the books. Been quite interesting so far to see how this is going to play out for the guys in the back coming forward. But the 84 Dawson Alford's not letting Zach Lockett completely get out of sight.
No, I mean, they're keeping him honest, and that's the thing. You know, you're going to have comers and goers in this race. It's a wide racing surface. This track will transition. It'll widen out over the course of this run this evening, especially as that Goodyear, that rubber gets laid into the surface as well. And that makes for some really great racing here as the 35 now is really starting to dial up the excitometer inside the cockpit of that car he just passed moments ago, referring to that 84, of course, as he's about tandem drafting here down this backstretch.
Yeah, most of the cars here, you got tandem drafting. Well, you got the leader out there by himself, and you got tandem draft here trying to see if they can use each other's draft to kind of run him down. And I'm not sure if it's helping or if it's holding him up right now, but Dawson Alford's still got the quickest lap of the race as we roll through. And looks like Truth Hoke right now in fourth, trying to catch up to Jacob Plank, but Plank and Alford's trying to run down your race leader and use that draft, so they kind of get in the way a little bit.
And ladies and gentlemen, don't look now, but and don't blink your eyes, but Kinsley Smith has rebounded to inside the top 5 in a handful of laps as he's now looking for more as he's side by side now with Truth Hoke in the 55. He's going to send it on the high side of the racetrack, try to keep all that momentum wound up, and he does. He completes the pass, another spot to the good for Kinsley Smith as he is possessed right now on a charge back to the front. Typically, you'd like to see some patience exercised out there on the racetrack. He's got to be punishing those Dr. Feelgoods. But what a recovery drive here in the early going for Kinsley Smith. This is quite impressive.
Yeah, speaking of, I was looking for a tire limit, but I don't see a limit on tires. Oh, I actually hit 5. So, I mean, if you get 5 sets of tires, I'm pretty certain it's 60 laps. Unless you get into a lot of incidents and you really push your tires hard here, you're not going to go through all 5 of those sets. So if I was in his position, I don't think I'd be trying to save anything either.
Well, here's the other side of that. This league is very famous for having lean, mean, and green runs with no stage breaks. So they're good, depending on how we get those caution flags or not. If this does run long, I just worry about the Goodyear Eagles on that race car on the 15, should he have to go the distance. Again, I'm not down there on the racetrack, and the 15 is certainly a capable driver, but one thing he needs to keep in the back of the mind, and as you know, when that right rear starts to go, this race car becomes a handful, and the only thing you can do as a driver is sit and wait until you have an opportunity to come down pit road. But nonetheless, that 15 is vibing right now as he is now the fastest car on the racetrack. Last time by, Kinsley Smith was 2/10 quicker than anyone else out there on the racetrack as Zach Lockett continues to lead.
Yeah, he was definitely quick out there. And another note I noticed that the fuel mileage for these is turned down to 65% to help out with the pit stop. So I'm kind of wondering if he's in a window where he's going to be able to pit about the time that he wears that right rear tire out, like you were saying. So we'll see how long he keeps going here on the 15 of Kinsley Smith as he's rolling forward and continuing to run down. Looks like Jacob Plank is trying to catch up to now as he got loose through turn 2, which is quite a commonality here tonight.
Yeah, loose off of turn 2 and especially turn 3, as it looks like that's where the Waffle House has dumped the bacon grease, as it's been Calamity Corner. I'll tell you what, though, Zach Lockett looks like that's a slot car out there on the racetrack, that TRD-powered Camry. I haven't seen that car wiggle anything other than a perfect laser around this racetrack since the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, he's definitely been fast out there with the race lead, and he's still got a slight lead there over Dawson Alfords, and it's still hanging right about that half to 3/4 second lead. So he's definitely keeping a good pace, and Dawson Alford's not letting him get away, and Alford's maybe even just kind of keeping him in his sight and keeping the tires under him and trying to keep the pressure on Lockett just enough to maybe be able to make a move here before either the first round of pit stops, or maybe they'll be able to get a pit stop in, and maybe getting on off of pit road might be the change of the race lead.
Absolutely. Very well said, as we now have a battle for that second place Bruin, the 35 and the 84. Little Ford on Chevrolet action, going to go at it again. However, as soon as it started to brew, they got back single file. And I think, to your point, these two drivers realize here, hey, if we work together, we have a better shot of running down Zach Lockett versus, driving the tires off our race cars and running side by side. I think this is a smart play here by the 84 and 35. And, we told these, all of our viewers at the top of the broadcast, this place is very famous in the speed department. I'm going to go ahead and throw on the on-time telemetry here. That's going to show up in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and you can see firsthand just the kind of speeds they are running tonight down there on the racetrack.
Yeah, a lot of speed here. Looking about top speed for one of the drivers I've seen was about 195, 196, about 196 miles an hour, and that's actually further back in the field. So draft may play a role in that, but that is our Leroy. I was gonna say debut for the 42 is Leroy in that Ford, but he's quite the speed here tonight, and we'll see if he can put that to use. And I think fast on the racetrack speed-wise, Diego Rodriguez at a 197.
Yeah, Diego Rodriguez, I think that's the highest clock speed we've seen all race long. Now, to be fair, we have about 14 to 15 laps on these current sets of tires. No one has been down pit road, so those speeds are going to be a little relaxed from those top speeds that we've seen. But even so, you can see now that 84 of Dawson, with some help out there on the racetrack, approaches 180 miles an hour before he has to lift coming into turn 3 as they continue to run about two and a half to 3 car lengths back now of the leader. And you'll really see these speeds pick up as they get the benefit of the draft. And don't look now, Kinsley Smith, no help, no problem. He is running these 3 cars that hold the podium spots down.
Kinsley Smith's still quite on a roll from his snafu earlier, and he's definitely shown that he can adapt and overcome, and he's maintained his pace and brought it back to the front here, and he's right back to where he started at. So he's working on making his way forward and making the day go better here as he rolls through the event. Looking at Zach Lockett, still your race leader.
You mentioned adapt and overcome. At a place like Pocono, what can you do as a driver to go out there and just check those boxes and put yourself in a position to contend for a win here after an almost catastrophic start to the race?
It's pretty much, you got to take it and look at it from the standpoint of being as a 35. Looked like he's going to look to the inside of the 84 here. So we got a battle for second. Jacob Plank looking to P2 here under Alferts, and that position is going to go. Well, Alferts going to fall backwards, so that's going to be Plank taking over second. But back to what you're saying about adapting and overcoming, you just have to look at the situation at hand and take it to heart, and know that you've got. Early in the race, you just got to go at it. There's another battle here for P2 as they're going back at it. Looks like not going to happen here. 84 is going to fall back in line. But there's multiple ways to look at it. Early in the race, okay, you still got time. You got a lot of time. You just got to figure out, or know what you did wrong and be able to change your braking points or entries in the corners, or just know that you have time to make up that ground and potentially get back to the front before it's over.
That's a great point. Basically, you have to be adaptable as a driver. You can't be afraid to go out there and try some different things to make that race car better. Again, this isn't a very narrow racetrack. You have a lot of real estate to work with, so you can find a lane, a line that works for your car until you get an opportunity to come down pit road and make some more fine line adjustments to it. Again, this is a fixed setup league, not an open set. However, there's no better solution than a set of 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles for a driver, especially when you're out there for a long run. Is the 84, that car gets absolutely twisted, goes up there and bounces off the fence. That's going to allow Kinsley Smith to get around here on the high side.
Well, the 84 got loose and did get into the wall, but I'm not so sure that wasn't a shark attack from the 15. And Kinsley Smith maybe he just got the 84 nervous, so he saw he was coming and knew that he was back so far for a while. And now Smith is on the attack now, and we'll see if the 84 has any kind of aerodynamic damage there, as he kind of touched the wall a little bit, and we'll see if the 15 is able to pass him with these, or if he's going to have to throw a little. Oh, here he goes, Kinsley Smith looking to the inside of the 84 as they come down into turn 2.
He's going to turn it down to the bottom as he pulls alongside, door to door, pedal to the metal. That Category 5 afterburner kicked in. He's going to outbreak him into the corner. Now the 84 is going to try to roll him back on through the middle of the corner. He just cannot keep that car planted, and Kinsley Smith is able to take the position. He is now cracked the top three, and don't look now. Truth Hoax says, if you can do it, I can do it too, as he now challenges Dawson for that fourth place position.
Yeah, the Wrangler 55 unable to come up with that pass at that in particular time, but hey, we're only on lap 19. There's plenty of time. You can get it. You might even get it on pit road, but right now it looks like he's gonna be able to get it done on the racetrack. Because looks like they're gonna try it again here as they go into one, and the 84 is gonna slam the doors. He looks to the inside of the 15 of Smith as they roll off on one.
That was millimeters from contact into the 15 as that car wanted to push up the racetrack again with that dirty air. As we zoom in here on the 84 now, as the 55 now pulls alongside, just trying to get a peek at that damage that I think that is there, unless perhaps the game glitched or the simulation glitched when I first looked at that race car after the contact with that outside retaining wall. I can tell you that the driver's side of the front clip of that race car looks perfectly fine, but as he comes around the corner, it goes drift mode. You can see the damage there right before that fender well there on the passenger side, and that certainly is going to hurt his performance aerodynamic.
Yeah, if he gets to run it by himself, you can definitely see the damage there. It's not going to allow that air to flow as smooth. That might act as an umbrella there. As you see the 55, Hoke looks like he's going to be able to make the pass here. We'll see if he's got the momentum off the corner, but the 84 looks to prevail. We'll see the tunnel turn looks like it. No, he's going to get, we're going to have a car going around. That's going to be our first caution flag of the night.
We go full-blown helicopter mode out there on the racetrack as the 84 comes to rest at a horrible spot out there on the racetrack. If you remember back to when Jeff Gordon had a vicious impact there, and that damage has been magnified as he was going at it World War II trench warfare style. Let's go back to the instant replay and take a look how this all unfolded, as this is going to bring out the first caution for incident this evening. Let's send it back to the instant replay. I'm going to slow it down here as we send it up to the eye in the sky. See, they are literally drag racing down the stretch here, and the 55 is going to come up and make contact with the 84, and that's going to turn him down the racetrack. And once that happens, he's holding on for the ride there, and he's going to have a vicious impact there. Look at the front of the car come off the ground. Not what the 84 camp had in store. However, they do have one fast repair in their back pocket. What did you happen to see on that one?
Well, now that it's funny, kind of you mentioned the fast repair. I was going to say that too, but as far as the damage goes on this, he's going to have a couple of minutes of damage, I'd imagine. I don't think it's going to be too extreme. I don't know that I'd worry too much about using that fast repair just yet. I think I'd save it for a little bit later on the races. We're not even quite halfway home yet, so I'd say you might want to keep that one in his back pocket for a little bit.
Yeah, always save those fast repairs if you're able to. And you're right, Pocono, the other thing about that, you have a long time to work on that race car in the pits. It's 2.5 miles around this place. And I actually thought that was going to be a lot worse of a hit for the 84. I thought he was going to have Bluetooth suspension there the whole 9 yards. And while we have time, I'm going to go back and look at this one more time, as this brings out our first caution for incident on the evening. And if you take a look at the 84, you can see him that he is running the seam as he comes off the corner here. The 55, just a very rare mistake from Truth. He came up just a little bit. Sometimes it just takes a couple inches or two to set things off. And unfortunately, that was the case. And that Good Wrench Plus machine caught the worst end of it, as he's going to have an extended stay in the pits as we cycle back to the live side of things right here on Racers Elite Network.
Yeah, I was watching. Most of the drivers came down pit road. Looked like only one driver didn't, to my knowledge. And of course, as we kind of figured, Zach Lockett had that first pit box, and it played off for him as he was the first driver to leave pit road that came down.
I'll tell you what, Zach Lockett is putting on a performance here tonight. Not only fast out there on the racetrack, getting it done in the trenches as well. And when you usually check the boxes here at Pocono, Usually it turns out to be a great evening for you as a race car driver, and there's no better feeling than commanding the ship here in P1. But however, take a look who is in that second place position. You know, if you happen to join us here at the top of the broadcast and you went and got a drink, came back, wondering how Kensley Smith rebounded so quickly to that second place position, well, he literally went full-blown Cletus McFarland, do it for Dale mode up there on the high side, and he let it rip Tater Chip, and he was able to claw his way back through the competition, and he's going to restart in that second place position. What a drive for Kensley Smith.
Kinsley having a fantastic night there. Is early in the going here with the one pit stop under pretty much everybody's belt. And I was seeing here that the 55 of Truth Hook was credited with the penalty of the caution and will be receiving the end of the line penalty.
Yeah, more problems there for Truth Hoke, and that's the first infraction for the race. You know, race control is going to give you that end of the line penalty, and should you cause another incident out there on the racetrack, you know, the cost only continues to grow from there. And again, 55 very rarely makes a mistake, and that was just a bad moment, one that Truth wishes he could have back. So he's going to take it back down pit road again, probably top off on fuel, as fuel mileage always seems to become part of the equation here at the end, especially at Pocono.
Yeah, most definitely. I had a great race in the trucks here a while back and picking up that win. I made the pass the tunnel turn, but I had actually won one of the stages for that race. I did do stages for that race, and fuel mileage played a part in that. Where I had my fuel mileage time just right, and what came down to the fuel mileage on that stage was actually coming to the checker flag and knowing that I had about one lap of fuel left and had to time it right and kill the truck and be able to manage that fuel throughout that race.
Yeah, sometimes, shutting it off and putting that clutch in can make all the difference of having enough juice left in the tank to get you across that start-finish line under power. The other side of that is, too, as those lights go out in that iRacing.com pace car. Should you miss and guess wrong, it is a long way around this place, and you can lose a ton of positions should you take the gamble and it not go your way.
Yeah, most definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how this restart goes, because right now Kensley Smith is on the outside and he'll be knocking on that door, and I don't think Zach Lockett's going to quite get away with this one.
Go ahead and take us back to the green, buddy.
Alrighty, so the iRacing.com official pace car pulls in. The green flag comes back out in the ICO restart zone, and it's going to be the 93 of Zach Lockett's going to get the jump, but Kensley Smith not going to let him get away. He's going to run him down into turns 1 and 2, but he's going to be side by side with the Racers Elite sponsor Andrew Teff. And Andrew, the one that brings us here, and he's going to have to battle and contend with Kensley Smith for this one as they battle for 2 out of turn 1.
Well, Andrew Teff, the HMFIC head cook, chief, and bottle washer of the league, says it's time to go, and he is now battling as it's almost 3 wide, just behind positions 1 and 2. Now that Mustang's going to slot in on the high side, trying to leave Andrew Teff out to dry there, not get the benefit of the draft. But I'll tell you what, those fresh Goodyears, we got problems. 2 cars into the wall, make it 3 as the 91 gets clobbered. All the escape lanes are beginning to plug up, and we have mayhem uncorked everywhere. As a big-time incident breaks out from some intense close quarters racing here at Pocono.
And that is the hard impact that you were talking about. The 91, I noticed, looked like the right rear wheel is locked up on the 91. Not sure if the brake locked up. I'm not sure if it came out as I'm looking at the driver's side of the car now. Trying to see if I can get a look at the right rear, but that tire definitely looked like it is still locked up on that car as he's trying to drive back to pit road, which I'm sure he'll get there. He's got 3 free rolling wheels, but hard impact for the 91 for sure.
Yeah, big time hard impact, and you're right. That wheel is destroyed. It is locked up. That is Bluetooth suspension all day long. Broken toe link as well, as that's the one soft spot on these race cars. Let's go back and take a look at this again, as a lot happened quick, fast, and in a hurry right here on Racers Elite Network. Already, you can see the smoke flying there already. There's the 91. Let's go ahead and go VHS mode here, as sometimes timing and scoring needs a little bit of assistance with multiple car incidences like we've had here right now. So as we wind it back, watch this battle here with the 3. The Camaro's going to get loose off the top, tries to save it, but comes down and high fives that number 3, which is going to send him back up the racetrack. Both cars make contact. It's going to shoot that Camry down and just right rear the 91. Had no idea it was coming. Now he's backwards, going the wrong way. And take a look at this impact. The 90, that other Ford Mustang almost gets free, but catches a piece of it and then bonsai into the fence. A wild ride here for some of these drivers, but how about the situational awareness for most of these guys to be able to drive their way through this, especially when all those escape routes virtually were plugged up.
Yeah, most definitely. And you got to kind of base it off your sponsor, and you got to have a lot of wreck avoidance mindset when it comes down to which way these cars might go. And, you know, in the sim racer standpoint, everybody preaches to hold the brake, but it doesn't always play out that way. And unfortunately, 2 or 3 of these guys, looks like the 91's gonna have to use that fast stripper we talked about, and the 3 is also gonna have to use that fast stripper. He's got a lot of major damage to both the back and the front end of that car.
Yeah, now the 91 really, Hayden Malcolm really has to go into that conservation mode and be very careful out there on the racetrack. He can't afford to wad that machine up again. Otherwise, he'll be kicking stones on the back of his hauler here, as we still have a good amount of racing to go here in this one. Again, the first stop at Pocono in the 2025 campaign, right here in the Racers Elite Cup Series, as we currently get that field restacked behind that iRacing.com pace car.
And about 35 laps to go, and field getting stacked back up here. They'll be should be getting the 1 to green this time by, I'd imagine. As looks like it's still going to be Zach Lockett out front. Kinsley Smith, your second place runner at the moment. Diego Rodriguez is in 3rd. Jacob Plank in 4th. And your top 5 currently is Andrew Teff. So Andrew having to go back a few spots here, and he's going to have to regroup, and maybe this restart will get better for him this time around.
I'll tell you what, Andrew Teff, not only, got to thank him for all the hard work and dedication that he puts into this league. I mean, literally racing going on virtually every night of the week. Racers Elite has everything covered. If you're looking for a league, a new home with some great racing, great guys at the top, and just a community, that's passionate about racing, look no further, than Racers Elite. And he's a driver that continues to improve and get better. And he exercises patience very well. He knows how hard to go, when not to go. He just has that. He has the ability to read what's going on the racetrack, and he always seems to be at the right place at the right time as the laps start to count down and that intensity starts to dial up. As Kinsley Smith here is going to restart on that outside front row, perhaps the first real competition that 93 of Zach Lockett's going to face all race long.
Yeah, I was looking through some data here, and it looks to be that the 84 took the safe way out earlier and used that fast repair, so he had to go into defensive mode after about the first 10 to 12 laps of this race. So that's quite an interesting note there, that maybe that damage is a little more extensive than what we saw.
And oftentimes that can be the case, as we now send it down to the track surface as we hop on board with Kinsley Smith here for this restart. As the pace car now rolls through the turn 3 complex at a snail's pace compared to what they're going to be going here in about 30 seconds or so. Go ahead and throw up the real-time telemetry as well, so you can watch just how quickly Kinsley Smith gets up to speed. Barney's got the green flag in the hand here, and what a restart there by the 93 as he catches Kinsley Smith on the snooze button. However, help is coming as we turn it around to the back door bumper camera. Here we go. It could be a big run here as the 20 comes up the block.
I say that was a great run there. At least he had some help coming into one, but the Lockett got a great restart, but Rodriguez pretty much called him out on it and stayed right there glued to his bumper and was able to move up in front of Kinsley Smith. Knowing that Smith had that a great car from short to long run all the way through. Seems not to really fall off very much. He's kind of settled for third at the moment, but he's going to get his composure back together and go right back at the 20 here probably very shortly with 33 laps to go.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, Kinsley Smith, with what happened to him early on that race, that could almost be a benefit because he ran that race car basically qualifying laps for that stint entirely. And those Goodyears didn't really seem to skip a beat. He knows that now, just how hard he can push this, and perhaps that gives him even more confidence as the top four here are literally packed on top of each other. And here comes Plank in that 35 Dark Horse Mustang. He's throwing his hat in the ring as well.
Yeah, he's definitely throwing his hat in the ring there, sneaking up on them. He's going to push Kinsley Smith to second here, it looks like, and that was almost a hard enough push. He almost pushed him right to the back bumper of the 93 of Zach Lockett. And I was looking at fast times around the racetrack. I was going to say the 20 was quick last time by, but that's not going to matter here in a moment. As Kinsley Smith's going to take back over that second spot here, I believe, off of turn number 3 as he looks to make the pass, and he is clear.
Yeah, he gets the help there of Jacob Plank there on the bottom to give him that extra shove, and he is going to clear back the 20 as Kinsley Smith reclaims that second place position. How about that is Truth Hope all the way back in 11th place, goes new fast time out there on the racetrack at a 54-13. That is getting it around this place.
That is definitely flying as the speeds are back up 180s, 186, 187 is dipping into almost the 190 mark. But that's what the work of these Goodyear tires are doing for these guys, especially with the track temperature and the track surface. Take rubber, so it's going to tighten up or loosen up as it goes along, depending on how these guys are driving their cars and how hard they get through the corners.
And speaking of how hard they get through the corners, that also translates to how much speed they're going to generate down those straightaways. The faster you can send it through the corner, that should translate to more speed down these straightaways as well. At the end of the day, it's all about getting faster lap times as the 55 stays on the offensive. He keeps the cannons armed up here, and he gets ready to try and slingshot past the 4. However, he has no help on the bottom as a fellow Ford joins that high side lane as we drag race here coming into the tonal turn.
Yeah, this is the battle we've been waiting for since the drop of the green as Kinsley Smith was making his way forward. It looks like he has finally gotten to Zach Lockett.
Oh, they make contact!
Going to go to the wall a little bit. Kinsley's going to take it to the inside. Here comes the 23 wide as they roll into turn number 3. 3 wide still. Looks like they're fading to 2 wide now is the 20. Rodriguez looks like he may take the lead. We'll see if the momentum on the high side works as we're going to go 3 wide down the front straightaway.
3 wide, it's okay to 3-way at Pocono as it looks like the Blue Angels out there in a set of F-18 Hornets, and we're 4 wide, 4 lanes across, going into 1. This is absolute madness.
And as they go into 1, Kinsley Smith goes on the defensive because 4 wide is not okay. 3 wide is going to be a little dicey as they come off. They're going to touch between the 35 and the 20s. They're Plank and Rodriguez touch a little bit. They're able to keep it together, and we're going to fall back in line. They decided it's a little too early to be doing that with 29 laps to go.
I'll tell you what, you got to have a good set of drivers inside the cockpit of those race cars to pull off moves like that. And that was absolutely thrilling to watch here up at the Tony Trepasso Memorial broadcast booth. And I'll go ahead and say it. That was definitely the don't stain your ride, use time moment of the race, as it looked like we were coming to the finish at the new Atlanta here at Pocono. What an impressive display by these guys, mixing it up at the front.
Yeah, they were mixing it up for sure. And things got wild as they were 4 wide for the race lead with 35 laps to go at that point in time, or 32 laps to go at that point in time. But look at top speeds again. The fastest speed that I saw, I think, was up to like 198. So it's kind of crazy to see somebody actually get up that fast. And I'm trying to remember who it was here.
Well, I know the 4 cars that we've seen battling at the front, typically when you have cars side by side like that, that's going to dial back the speeds a little bit as the 20 goes ahead and looks to make a big move here. But Kinsley Smith, I know for certain, I saw 195 at one point. Oh, as the 20 comes up and leads off the 35 through the corner, trying to help him make the turn.
Yeah, so a little bit of movement there. Looks like Kinsley Smith's going to have to fall back in line with Lockett. Lockett's going to retake the race lead, but still right there. And he's got his mirror full of the 15 of Smith as they roll through turn number 1. And here comes Smith now as he's going to dive to the bottom. Trying to make a move here as they roll off a 1. And it's like Smith may have the race lead as they go into the tunnel turn.
Tell you what, Kinsley Smith got sent to the rear with the gear, and he had other plans as he hit the afterburner and has come all the way back to the front as he's going to send it into the corner. Eaton on the bottom. The 50, I'll tell you what, the 93 gets a great exit on the high side with the momentum as he takes the lead back. And it's a slugfest heavyweight bout here for the first place, working lap 35 of the scheduled 60 here from Pocono.
Yeah, most definitely. I saw Smith wiggle a little bit in the tunnel turn. That little bit of dirty air with that mile-per-hour wind gust, like 14. That definitely deviated there, but the 35 Plank's going to give Smith a boost here down the front straightaway. That long straightaway is going to allow that draft to play out here, and this is going to be Smith with the lead going into 1, and he looks like he's going to drag Plank with him. We'll see if Plank can hold on to the second spot as they roll off of turn number 1, but it looks like Lockett's going to hang on to the second position for the time being.
Look at this close quarters battle as we go on board, and look at the big time push as he's getting the business there from Zach Lockett as he sets him into the corner. I mean, when we're telling you guys that they're literally welded on the racetrack and can't get any more proof than that, as we are down on the GoPro cam looking out the back of the 15. And remember, folks, this isn't Daytona or Talladega. We don't have 30 plus degrees of banking. There's hardly any banking out here, and these guys are doing all of this just inches from each other with speeds almost approaching 200 miles an hour. As Kinsley Smith has done it, he is your new leader here at Pocono.
Yeah, Kinsley Smith definitely going from the back to the front, but something else, just because we got our attention focused on the front and keeping an eye on the race leaders, something else to keep an eye on. Aiden Howard started back in 20th and is actually moved up 11 spots. He's currently running in 8th in that number 14 Ford.
Yeah, that's a great point, and he is having a terrific evening. Again, as you were saying, the biggest mover of the race, up 11 spots in that 14 machine, as he continues to work just ahead of that 55 CL1 Camaro, and quite frankly, the Hornet's Nest just behind him, as Aiden Smith has silently and methodically worked his way inside the top 10. A great run thus far for the 14.
Yeah, it looks like he's potentially maybe trying to knock off another one here. Well, let's see that Mahindra car. I can't say too much as far as design-wise. It's a pretty good-looking ride. I was gonna say sharp, but the color scheme stands out different from. He's got the 55 behind the Wrangler. It's the red and white there. It's the 14 kind of stands out. It kind of reminds you of maybe a Tony Stewart ride.
Oh, for certain. I get that as well. You see the Rush logo there on the back of that Mustang was a primary sponsor for Tony Stewart, as well as WSV3. They always seem to win a lot of those races. In fact, his last win, which he got at in Southern California in wine country out there in Sonoma, his last win of his racing career always seemed to came with that scheme as the primary sponsor of the car. So this battle between Hoke and Aiden Howard is for that 8th place position. As we send it back up to the front of this piece, now to Tarboro, North Carolina, that 15 KS Designs machine currently carries the torch with just 23 laps remaining.
Yeah, 23 laps to go for the 15 at Kinsley Smith, and Zach Lockett currently running in second in the 93 Toyota. Jacob Plank riding along right now in third. We'll see if he can get back up there and make this race a little dicier. But right now, with laps winding down, I believe Biden has time, and makes you wonder how far out from pit stops we are and just how close we're going to be to the end of the race when the last stop has to happen.
Yeah, we still have that very important, critical money stop happening, which more times than not always seems to happen under flag conditions. Not the case with the first stop, as that happened under the yellow flag condition. But now the big question I have, when do these drivers start to go into conservation mode? Does some of these guys try to, dial it up go full-blown high-stakes Las Vegas mode that perhaps don't have the pace to keep up with the 35, the 93, or the 15. You're going to see a lot of different strategies here, a lot of different ways to get in victory lane. But we're going to see what these leaders do, as I believe they have to at least make one more stop. They do not have the fuel to go the distance.
They're about for 22 laps in. That it's like about 17 laps is usually about the distance on a pit run here. We have one at 21, but it makes me think that lap 21 pit stop was an early one for Leroy with some damage, but we'll see how it plays out. There's a lot of different, like you said, different strategies. There could be some takers that go a little early, thinking that they can get that pit stop in, and maybe a late race caution will happen. And then you got the guys that are up front here knowing that, hey, the racing's been pretty clean, it's been respectable. You know, they've got clean racing going on. There's a little, I mean, as far as everything here has been pretty clean. We've had dirty air with get cars loose, and it's not really something you anticipate. You get behind somebody, you're like, all right, let's go. You get in go mode, and you want to take them to the front and try to get yourself in a great position. But at the same time, you create dirty air, and you don't mean to, but it happens anyway.
Yeah, it's just a byproduct of racing in this race car. And, you know, speaking about dirty air, let's look at Zach Lockett, for instance, in that 93. That car was on an absolute rail. It seemed like he was on another zip code at times throughout that first stint. And as Kinsley Smith got around him with that 93 and dirty air for that first time, that race car is not handling the same. He is getting snapped loose, or starting to get really tight wart or snap loose condition. Basically, that's where you turn the wheel and the car does not turn, but when it finally starts to, it snaps loose. And that is a horrific handling condition here for drivers out there, especially at Pocono. But that 93 is certainly be affected by that dirty air. So he's kind of having to relearn how to drive this thing right now, as that 35 continues to get better the longer we run.
Yeah, 35 looking to be a great long run driver. His momentum's set up. It looks like he's got the momentum dialed in to run down just about anybody that's in front of him. He had a little help earlier. He helped Kinsley Smith get to the lead, and I don't know how it's going to play out when it comes down to those two. If it comes down to those two to win this race, if Kinsley Smith will have any kind of courtesy for him, or if he's going to run him all the way hard to the line, since he was able to help him get there.
You know, that's a great point. And the other question, perhaps these three drivers, stop battling each other so much and try to, just run single file here and try to check out from this other competition, especially if they have to pit under green flag conditions. That real estate, that extra time, is critical and a massive advantage if you can do that and execute it. If it does go that way, till the checkered flag, and perhaps that's what we're seeing right now, is the intensity up front starts to calm down, and they run single file now. In fact, they are the fastest three cars out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, most definitely. And with that being said, we kind of highlighted Aiden Howard earlier, and unfortunately he's going to have to come back down pit road as those pit stops are happening. He has a speeding penalty.
Speaking of speeding penalty, Kinsley Smith, he says it's time. He sets it down pit road for his money stop. Clean execution, getting down to speed of the commitment code, as the 15 now has sights set on his pit stall. No mistakes here. Should be 4 Goodyear Eagles, 2 Kansas Sunoco Racing Fuel. Clean execution into his pit stall, and this is going to signal more drivers to come down pit road. Is Diego Rodriguez in the 20 getting service on his race car. And there's the Colonel out of Spartan, Kentucky, Kirby Wade Scott, as Kinsley Smith is down and away.
Yeah, down and away on his way out of pit road is on that same lap. Aiden Howard got a speeding penalty. Joshua Freed had to come back in and serve a speeding penalty as well. So that's another hit for those drivers. That 39 car had to come back down. His penalty has been served and returned to the racing surface. But Kinsley Smith is going to fall all the way back to 11th. But nonetheless, I believe we're going to be looking at a few more drivers in front of them. Going to have to come down for a pit stop, and we'll see when the race leaders tend to do so on that. And as Dawson Alferts looks like he's still out there going strong on the racetrack with the race lead. So we'll see when he decides to make that stop and how much he's going to give up coming down, or maybe he does a flash and go, maybe just fuel and try to beat the second place driver back out on the racetrack.
And that was exactly what I was getting at about going, oh, geez, the 98 of Andrew Depp just went up and clobbered the fence there. You don't want to do that. But as I was saying before that incident happened, you know, currently the two cars here at the front both pit last on lap 21. So they're currently 22 laps into the stint as Andrew Depp decides he doesn't want to risk it. He's going to chuck the biscuit down pit road. And the final time tonight is Dawson, Truth Hope, Curtis Eckert now are your top three as they have not yet come to pit road. Last down on lap 25. They could perhaps stay out there just a little bit longer.
He stayed out a little bit longer, and it looks like Dawson Alford has a decent lead growing here for him. Don't know how soon I want to give that up, or if he wants to be the last car to come in and grab fuel. You don't want to put yourself in a position here that's going to give away a lot of track position. You're at this point in time, you're kind of running out of time, and it's beyond go mode and go time with maybe 15 to go this time by for Dawson Alfords, but he's got, like you said, Truth Hoke and Curtis Ecker there as well, and they're not very far behind them. Hoke's still, I mean, there's a lot of distance here, but here comes your race leader. It's Dawson Alfords coming to pit road, and looks like Truth Hoke and Curtis Ecker are going to stay out on the racetrack. So this one looks to be Dawson Alfords by himself right now.
Yeah, as he comes down pit road, Truth Hope looks to stretch this one as far as he possibly can. Perhaps you have his plan, or you have his strategy figured out. He's just going to come down pit road, splash fuel, and go. As right now, Truth Hope, who is your leader, last pitted again on lap 25. Kinsley Smith, who was your leader before that last cycle of pit stops, which is currently ongoing, all the way back in 7th place and currently 35.75 seconds off the pace. That is an eternity.
Yeah, most definitely there, and it looks like maybe Tiff, maybe the benefit car here. We'll see. I'm trying to check to see if he's pitted yet. I think he did, but I'm not certain. So it's if Tiff can hang out and stay consistent from here to the end of this race, and we go caution free, then we'll be able to. Probably, he might pick up the win on this one.
Yeah, that's a great point as well. And in fact, I can confirm Andrew Tepp did pit. He came down on lap 44. Doesn't really look like anyone else around him came down on lap 44. Lap 43 for Jacob Plank. And then Diego Rodriguez, lap 42. So perhaps Tepp has the right plan here. We're going to have to see how this cycles out. One thing we know, it's never over until it is over. That is 14 laps remaining. As Truth Hope continues to burn the midnight oil, how long will he run out there in that Camaro?
Yeah, that is the question right now. Is he still hammering down on the hammer lane out there? And Hayden Malcolm, unfortunately, going to get a speeding penalty, I believe, and he'll have to come back in and serve that. But he is currently undergoing his scheduled stop, so he'll have to come back in. Big break, tough break for that number 91. Is he's currently followed the 16th, and will continue to follow when he has to come back in to serve that penalty. But right now out front, it is all the 55 of Truth Hoke with Curtis Ecker behind them, and a small gap there, but not very much. As look like they're going to be racing around here until they go to pit. And Alex Tuft, I think, is the man in the money spot in that Toyota. So we'll see. It's been Toyota dominant most of the day, and we'll see if the Toyotas can pull it off here as we get to the closing laps of this one with 13 to go, 12 to go for your race leader this time by.
Yeah, no doubt those TRD machines have been tough. However, Kinsley Smith has been, the equalizer, I think, for the Chevrolets. He's been the fastest other car, not with the Toyota nameplate or badge on it out there. As Truth Hope, though, continues to stretch it out. How long can that 55 run? He was last down pit road on lap 25. That's the same story for Curtis Eckert, who's in that second place position. The other Toyota you mentioned, the other Tepp, Alex, in that third place position, up 11 positions, 12 laps remaining on the board. This is about to get interesting.
Interesting is the word for it here, especially with these drivers coming down. Yeah, a few, like you said, a few have to pit, and right now, looking. Alex, all these stops. It's. I think we might see the front four maybe come together.
That would definitely be a benefit like we see at super speedways. You got to have a battle buddy out there on the racetrack. And with as long as these straightaways are here, we've already seen just how effective draft can be. And absolutely 100%, if you can come down with a group of cars or just at least one other car, that can make a world of a difference. I'm curious if the 55 is saving fuel. So let's jump on board with him. That will tell us. He's currently out there in fourth gear, so he is still shifting. Fifth gear around this place would be ideal for fuel mileage, because he's still in that fourth gear number 4 here. He now works through that turn 3 complex. And here he comes down pit road just as we jump on board with True Coke. He is in for his final stop.
Yeah, Curtis Ecker is going to stay out, and he's going to take over the race lead. So with that pit stop coming aboard, and it looks like Hook's going to bring Paul Shaw along with him. So Shaw's going to come down for a pit stop, and that's going to give up some positions there. I think maybe Kinsley Smith's going to try to strike one of these. And with that pit stop by Smith, maybe, like I said, going to see how these drivers play it out.
Oh,
see who's going to come up with the race lead with Ecker and Teft having to come in yet. With Alex Teft, I know we got Andrew out there as well. Andrew didn't make his stop, so Alex the only Teft that has not, and things going to shake up as Kinsley Smith's now going to go to P3.
And as you covered that, Truth Hoke had a mistake. He overshot his box, had to put it in reverse, and that's going to cost him some precious time as he's down on the way now. Kinsley Smith, you mentioned, as those leaders came down to complete their final pit stop of the race, that's going to cycle the 15 machine back to third. Alex Teft out there continues to lead.
I was looking at Curtis Ecker, has made his stop, is on pit road right now. He's not made it to his box yet, but is well on his way. And Kinsley Smith, of course, you know, his spotter's in his ear saying, hey, the driver ahead of you has just pitted. Get on the hammer. It's time to get that spot. You know, you got to get that ground on them before they get out of pit road. So if they have to take maybe even 2 tires here, I know, but most of these stops are only for fuel. Is looking at lap time or looking at the speeds around the racetrack. Seems like they're not quite up there where they were. Things are a little slow, and maybe 2 tires may be the benefactor of a little bit faster speed through a corner.
You know, that's a great thing. If you should choose to go with 2 Dr. Feelgoods, that race car is really going to fire off loose until those tires come up to temperature. And look at the tandem drafting still going on there. Toyota helping the Chevrolet. There, you know, and that only goes so far until that switch hits and you see red as a race car driver, and you don't lift the you see Goddard checkered flag as the 93 decides it's time to pull the chain as they door one another coming off a 3, and we're back to the drag racing here at Pocono.
So this, and little does a lot of people know right now, this battle's for the race lead because your race leader was on pit road. As I believe that was Lockett's plan, was he saw the leader on pit road. I think they both knew it, and he decided it was time to shine. It's time to go with 8 laps to go. And it looks like the 15 firing off the high, great on the high side. And you look at the 35.
Where did the 35 come from? It's a 3-way battle down the backstretch. Here we go once again, version 2.0. As that now becomes a 2-way battle. And I love the strategy play there as the 93 decided it was time to utilize the draft, and they got hooked up. That 35 of Jacob Plant continues to get better. That Mustang really ran these guys down. That was impressive, the closing rate that the 35 had there on the racetrack.
That just tells me it looks like he may have some fresh tires, all 4 of those. He's going to power around Lockett. Lockett got loose off of turn 3, and I think this is the difference between 4 fresh tires and maybe not taking it all and doing a fuel up and run and see if they can do it that way. Or I wouldn't quite call it a splash and go because they went quite a ways on that fuel run.
You know, you mentioned those tires as they are still duking it out here on the racetrack. It is hot and heavy. You know, your front 5, your top 5, Smith, Plank, Lockett, Taft, and Dawson all took 2 tires, according to the data that I am seeing here on the racetrack. And I'll tell you what, for 2 tires, these guys are really putting on a show as we had all kinds of problems there on the back. 2 cars did. The jig got loose. That allows, Jacob Plant there to get the better of the 93 of Zach Lockett as he now slots into that second place position as Lockett slams the fence.
Yeah, he may have slammed the fence. A little bit of right side romance going on here close to the end of this race as things dialing down with 6 laps to go. And that, fortunately for these drivers, the safer barrier in place here, allowing some small right side romance. Not a lot of damage being taken to these cars as they roll around here, and definitely that aerodynamic push here. And you can see the 15 Smith using a little bit of strategy here, and trying to shake the draft there of the 35.
Yeah, as we jump on board with the 15, so you can actually see how he is doing the Indy snake or trying to shake the draft. Basically, he's trying to get that 35 out of the toe from his race car. And you can do that by quickly maneuvering, shifting lanes, but sometimes that can actually negatively impact your speed, your momentum as well. So you really have to use, exercise caution when doing that, especially here at Pocono.
Most definitely is. I was looking as, it comes to no surprise as of right now, Kinsley Smith had the fastest lap of the race. Now, as it comes to surprise, his true hope is a 53.841. So that's definitely the 4-tire. Dr. Philgood's there putting down the lap times. As that just happened as he took the fastest lap of the race. So these drivers finding even more speed as the race comes to a close.
Yeah, 5 laps to go. Gentleman's handshake flag on the board as Truth Hope sets the new fastest lap at a 53.84. And we send it back up to the point. Look who now is hounding the back of that CL1 Camaro. He is trying to be like the Intimidator of old, get inside the helmet of that driver of the race car, make a mirror drive, get him to make a mistake, and open that bottom lane, perhaps part the Red Seas. But Kinsley Smith is like the Iceman out there. It is hard to get him to break under pressure, and we have a great battle brewing for the end of this race between Smith, Blank, and Lockett.
That dirty air played a role there as the 35 tucked to the back bumper of the 15 is he's going to run him down the racetrack and try to break that momentum in that draft as he saw a great run coming. And we'll see here, it's kind of a shaky scenario, and we'll see if the Stone Magnolias come out of the 35 like they did for me at Pocono in turn 2 a few weeks ago as I took my Chevy truck to the outside for a pass to the tunnel turn. And it's some slight quarter-turn racing. I mean, centimeters difference between the 35 and the 15 bumpers. Is the 35 going to take the race lead?
Go ahead.
I was saying,
oh my goodness! I am sorry to cut you off. Somebody just went up there and tried to mow the fence down. An horrific impact. I don't know if it's going to throw the caution flag or not.
Out.
Caution is out on the racetrack. That was about as hard as a hit as I've ever seen. I believe it was
14,
Aiden
maybe?
Howard, the 14.
Ouch.
Reminiscent of that Michael McDowell crash at Las Vegas. Again, 2 different racetracks here, but watch what happens when he comes through the Turn 3 complex. Go back to the instant replay here. Again, keep your eye. Oh. I thought initially he went head on into the fence there as I caught it out of the back corner of my eye. We were focusing on that battle up front.
Yeah, it was hit the wall, like upwards. It was 139 when he hit the wall.
You see the car, he starts to break loose and shoot down the racetrack. He overcorrects it. And when he does, it makes a beeline right for the fence. And that race car absolutely took a hit. And as you can see, that left front there is absolutely massacred. It is not rolling. It is not rotating. In fact, let's send this up to the eye in the sky here. Didn't mean to cut you off there. I do apologize.
All right, front's definitely tore up, and I was looking here. I don't know. I believe fast repair wise, he does have his fast repair yet, so he still has a chance to finish this race.
Let's send it up to the chopper here and take a look at this one more time. You see the car gets loose. He tries to correct, overcorrects, and that car just on a collision course there. You could see the parts flying off that Mustang. Is there raining? Is it literally raining parts there in the front stretch grandstands? That car is going to come to rest here right up against the barrier there for pit road, almost in victory lane. As that 14 takes a big time shot here late. We cycle back now to the live side of things, and this is going to make everything even more interesting. Dial up the excitometer even more if that's possible, as I believe this is going to set us up for a green-white checker. And check out the fakery, the acting going on as multiple cars faked pit road, and at the last second hightailed it back onto the racetrack. Blank, Lockett, Dawson, and Truth Hope all stay on the racetrack.
That makes you wonder how many of these drivers did a strategy stop earlier and just took fuel to try to make up track position. What's it going to look like with 4 fresh Goodyears? And it takes a few laps to get going, and they don't quite have that yet. So this might be where that 2-tire transition comes in play.
This is setting up for a very, very high-octane, thrilling finish. So Kinsley, Smith, and company, they take 4 Dr. Fieldman's 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. But like you said, you're not going to have maximum grip in the drop of the green flag. It's going to take some time for those tires to initially heat cycle and get all the grip out there on that racing surface, something that Plank, Lockett, and others don't have to worry about. The question is, do we use all of our allotted green light checkered allowances? Do we only go 1? Are these drivers going to have enough time, enough pace to come back from that 7th or 8th position? Or even Troy Thomas, the nitrous cowboy, who took 4 tires as well. It's going to be 2 versus 4, and everyone behind. Truth Hope is going to have the business coming here in a matter of moments as we go back to green flag racing.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's one of those things, like I said, it's great to have a great set of tires, brand new set, fresh set on the car, but time's against them here with, and if they have another caution, they don't get that chance to heat cycle. And so the 91 coming back down pit road, and that's Hayden Malcolm. Like I don't know why he's coming back down, but maybe he messed up a pit stop, or he's still got damage he's trying to get fixed, try to maximize his aerodynamic potential here coming to the end of this one.
Yeah, trying to maximize any potential, any strategy, anything that you can do to get a one-up on the competition, especially when it's been this fierce out there on the racetrack. I know how good drivers like Brandon Honeycutt, Kensley Smith, Alex, Andrew Tepp, they are in this series, as they've been staples and longtime regulars, and a big part of the blueprint, the matrix of this league. I just don't know if you're going to have enough time, given how many positions you got to gain out there on the racetrack. Is it possible? Absolutely. But I really think if we go all the way into our overtime allowances, that would give those drivers that took for a best case scenario is those lights go out on that iRacing.com pace car.
Most definitely is lights down the iRacing.com official pace car. Run you through your top 10 real quick. Jacob Plank, Zach Lockett, Dawson Alferts, Truth Hope, Andrew Tuff, Alex Tuff's the Tuff family there together. Kinsley Smith 7th, 8th, Brandon Honeycutt 9th, Troy Thomas. Around top 10 is Paul Shaw. So quite things here. Jacob Plank going to have his hands full here. It's kind of a little throwback to how the rest of this race is ran with the company of Zach Lockett. As Lockett was out front, we'll see if he can get a match restart with the 35 and maybe take the momentum with that Toyota back to the front as they round blue turn 3 as they come down the front straightaway.
The calm before the storm, like it's being inside the eye of a Category 5 hurricane, and the backside of the eye wall's getting ready to blow through as that pace car pulls off a pit road. Green flag back in the air. The V8s come roaring back to life, and we are overtime racing at Pocono as Jacob Plank looks like a Nissan GTR with 1,000 horsepower and all-wheel drive as he had some serious boogie under the hoodie. Look at the lead he got on that launch. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, beautiful restart from the 35, able to get out in front of everybody, a rocket, if you will, as he rolled off of turn 1 down and head towards the tunnel turn as it's sector 1 here. And Zach Lockett has company. Dawson Offerts is there, and here comes the 55. Through Pope now. He knows it's go time. It's been go time for quite some time. Both second and
Oh
third race
my!
cars. We're going to stay green here at Pocono.
It stays green here at Pocono. I don't know how that wasn't a smeared, smothered, and colored set of race cars, but Jacob Blake has uncorked the nitrous and all the horsepower, and he is trying to check out a Dodge as there's just one lap remaining. We are racing back to the checkered flag here on Racers Elite Network.
Yeah, white flag is out. Final lap goes. Anything goes from here. So anything after this that happens, I'd imagine will be admin reviewed. But right now, you're racing her out front, not looking back. Jacob Blank in the 35. He has to do it for 2 more turns. And we'll have to see how the rest of the field can play out in major turns 2 and 3 for the last circuit.
Last time around the racetrack as he comes into the log bound turn number 2. He's going to send it in there with everything that Mustang has as Kinsley Smith almost spins it off the top of the racetrack. He saves it once again. Zach Lockett going to be about 3 to 4 car lengths back as Jacob Blank takes a very conservative approach to that turn number 3. And coming off of turn number 4, Zach Lockett is going to go deep and go supersonic in overtime to win here on Racers Elite Network. He takes the checkered flag here at Pocono.
Yeah, great run for Jacob Plank and a great race for everybody else. And so much respect on the racetrack to everybody was able to make that last run to the checkered flag without incident for the most part, as far as like taking anybody out or having any bad blood to finish up a race.
Well said. I could not agree more. And what great close quarters racing we've seen all race long. We've seen the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the incredible saves, only one caution per incident out there. And ultimately, at the end of the day, Jacob Blank saves the best for last. In overtime was the right time for the 35 to punch his ticket early in this season. He's going to the playoffs. What a drive for the 35.
Yeah, great run for the 35 for sure.
You know, and how about, again, great runs for Zach Lockett there out of New York, my home state. And Kinsley Smith probably passed more cars than anyone out there on the racetrack as he comes home with that third and final podium position. And want to thank everyone for joining us here on Racers Elite Network as the 35 goes into celebrate mode and it's time to burn the house down. You don't need those good years anymore. You might as well get the good out of them.
You know, it's a great time to go out and celebrate the race win after a long anticipated battle throughout the course of the event, and watching. He kind of was in the catbird seat for a while and was able to sneak up there and get it done after the last set of pit stops to get this one.
Absolutely. You know, at this point, we're going to transition now to post-race coverage here. And as always, we're going to talk to the top 3 finishers right here on Racers Elite Network as we give them an opportunity to have a moment to speak with their team, celebrate before they join us up here in the Tony Trepass Memorial broadcast booth. So those drivers should be standing by shortly. Before we go ahead and do that, what was your takeaway on this race? What did you learn? What did you see out there tonight that really stood out to you?
Well, I mean, pretty much adapt never come for Kinsley Smith. Had a up and down night, and looking at the way things went for him, it seemed like the place that I'd probably would have picked Smith to win if I was looking at from the beginning of the race, being able to adapt never come and come back to the front like he did.
Yeah, well said. And we'll be able to hear from him momentarily. At least I hope so. And right now, standing by, we have Zach Lockett now joining us in the Tony Trepass Memorial broadcast booth. As just as I went to pull him up, he disappeared, and it looks like he is now back in the Discord. Second time's the charm. Let's go ahead and bring up Zach Lockett into the broadcast booth. As he joins us now, Ron, he's standing by with you.
Yeah, great run for I'm multitasking at the moment. My apologies.
It's all good, man. Zach.
Yeah, great run for you, Zach. Able to come up with a second place finish. You had a dominant truck here, and I believe still 939 Motorsports. Still a great run. Kind of represented the Toyotas from the get go, and I drive a Toyota daily, so I was kind of pulling for you. I did tell everyone my pick would have been Kinsley, but Kinsley was overcoming. But Zach, a great run for you. Tell us what your key points were to hold on to a top three podium finish here tonight.
Yeah, had a great start. Obviously, started on the pole and was able to kind of use the clean air to my advantage for most of the night. Knew eventually someone was going to catch me. I know I'm not the fastest here, but I do really enjoy this track, and I didn't really know how the tires were going to end up wearing. And the track started to cool down a little bit. People started to push it a little bit harder and get a little bit faster, and really just fought Kensley and Jacob that whole night, and just lost the battle there towards the end. But overall, yeah, great run for the Go Racing diecast Toyota Camry for 939 Motorsports, and really wish I could have came away with it. This is one of my home tracks, well, about an hour and a half from where I grew up in upstate New York, and one of my favorites. So disappointed, but really, content with the second place, and it's going to be good for my my points.
Was definitely a great point run for you. Anybody you'd like to help you pick up a second place finish here today at Pocono?
Yeah, just thanks to you guys for putting on a broadcast. I'm excited to go back tomorrow and listen to it. I want to give a shout out to everyone in the league. Always fun coming back here and racing, and everyone in 939 Motorsports and Sim Motion, Josh Freed in the 39, Leroy Koblenz in the 80 or the 42, excuse me, and then sometimes John Ross and Matt Schlosser who weren't here tonight. But appreciate them. Appreciate working with everyone. And gonna have to get back to it next week. We got the Daytona Road Course coming up, and hopefully we can come home with another podium. But let this one slip away, so it's disappointing. But overall, like I said, really content with the finish.
Thank you. Well, congratulations on P2, and nothing to hang your hat on too bad there. As you picked up that runner up, it's still a great points night for you here.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.
We appreciate it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the one and only Zach Lockett with a phenomenal run here at Pocono. Comes up just a little bit short, but he'll take that momentum and the points here with the second place finish. Next up, joining us topside in the booth, a driver that passed more cars than anyone out there on the racetrack, who put up a high-flying, high-octane performance, the one and only Kinsley Smith. Welcome, topside man. How was that race for you, bud?
Hectic. It was completely hectic.
It was a hectic race for you. Talk to me about that incident early on. I don't know how you were able to save that race car, but it looked like you were millimeters from absolutely being destroyed and perhaps being forced to utilize that fast repair. You go all the way back through the field, almost to the rear with the gear, and then you lit the wick and came charging to the front. Walk me through that race post that incident. How were you able just to dial up that type of speed and momentum and stay out of the chaos and come home with a solid performance this evening?
I don't really know how it happened. I haven't looked at it, but I think I wasn't clear going to the top. My spotter said I was clear, but I don't think I was, and that kind of started hooking me towards the wall, and I had to correct it. It shot me down to the inside, and then had to keep it off of the inside wall. But I mean, it was just a regroup moment. Just understand that it's just the beginning of the race. I think it happened like lap 3, so it was like I just need to regroup and resettle myself and just drive my race, run my line. And that's basically what I did throughout the rest of the race.
Yeah, well said. And, we pay close attention to you all race long. The other thing I want to ask is, obviously when you got behind there, you had to go. And obviously you were putting some pressure, particularly on those Goodyear Eagles. They didn't really seem to give up. I thought they were going to fall off big time, but you were able to carry that 15 machine right back up to the point, and it seemed to hang right with those leaders. How did the tire wear seem to trend tonight, and how did it affect the performance on the 15?
As it went on, if you overheated your tires, you would get loose, and if you overworn your tires, you would get tight. But I mean, it was all about just managing making sure you didn't do either of both, and just try to keep it under you as best you could, and try not to slide it too much, and just keep your tires going straight. And I mean, I learned from Honeycutt a lot, racing with him on my team, and he's probably the best one in this league to be able to save tires and stuff. So I just tried to find that middle ground where I was able to gain speed but still save my tires as best I could.
Hey, thank you for that excellent analysis and breakdown. And well said, Kensley Smith. And you're right, Honeycutt certainly can do things with those tires that I don't think possible at times, but yet I have this awesome privilege to be up here in the booth and watch him do it week after week. An incredible skill set that he possesses in that department. And you two are quite the pair out there on the racetrack. And here we are again, another race and another top 3 finish for the 15 machine. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done?
Of course, like I mentioned, Brandon, for racing with me and being on my team. We really talk a lot throughout the race and figure out what's going on track, and I bounce my tire wear off of him and gauge myself based off of what he's doing a lot of the times. Um, and then of course Andrew for putting on the league and doing a lot of the work behind the scenes, and he does really good work getting this stuff put together. And of course you guys up in the booth for broadcasting for us, and um, my daughter, #1 fan, always sitting here watching me race every night. So
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. The Napa Know-How man always has the plan and had one here at Pocono as he passed more cars on the racetrack with a thrilling high-octane performance going all the way from the back to the front. It comes up just a little bit short. Tried to use those Ford tires there at the end. Didn't quite have the time. Still comes home with a solid 3rd place finish. He'll take the momentum and the points. Thank you for joining us here topside. Enjoy the rest of your evening, sir.
thanks, sir.
Always a pleasure to speak with Kensley Smith. That means we're 2 down, 1 to go. I'm trying to find Jacob Plank here. Scroll, or at least search one more time through the voice channels here and see if I can find him. Oh, here he is. Let me grab him. And now joining us up in the Tony Trapassa Memorial booth, your winner tonight, Jacob Plank. Welcome topside.
I'll try to move him up here.
See,
Probably
try
get
it
up
one
there
more
for that
time.
there.
Sometimes it doesn't always work how you want. Try this one more time. And joining us now up in the Tony Trapassa Memorial booth, your race winner this evening, Jacob. Welcome to the broadcast booth.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Okay, man, you're what's going on. I mean, heck of a job, heck of a drive from you this evening. That Mustang seemed to just get better and better as this race continued to go on. Was that how it felt in the race car? Was that your perspective as well?
Yeah, at the beginning there, I knew Zach was gonna be, he was strong, and then Hensley in practice, he had a fast car too, so I knew, those two are gonna probably be up front, and I got bit last night in the Xfinity race by going too hard at the beginning and not saving my stuff, and tonight I just, figure we'll just relax until the time is right, and we got kind of lucky with how the strategies all played out there. It was awesome going, 4 wide and 3 wide. I wish it would have gone green to the end, but still a good result there.
Jacob, you are reading my mind. I mean, you guys put on a show up at the front with the close quarters. Looked like World War II combat trench warfare out there at times with you guys bumping and banging a little bit. Talk to me about that wild 4 wide drag race at the front. What was that like in the cockpit?
So I saw him 3 wide, and I'm like, you know what, we're gonna make some good TV here. So I went down on the bottom, and at that point you're just seeing who might play chicken. But I mean, with the track as big as and wide as Pocono is, I mean, you just kind of I knew I had to go in and just hug the bottom there, and I got 1 spot out of it, so it worked out. But yeah, it was great guys in this league, race clean, race smart. I mean, a lot of places that would have been a wreck, but we all made it through there.
Absolutely. I just wanted to jump in here really quick and say congratulations on a great run this evening and pick your brain for a moment. I'm going to turn it over now to Ronald as he's going to finish up your post-race interview.
Yeah, most definitely a great run for you. What kind of want to know what was going through your mind on that restart coming into overtime, and you had that great battle all race long, pushing Kensley Smith, and great battle with Truth Hoke and Zach as well as things kind of progressed to the end of the race.
Yeah, I felt as if I didn't push the tires too hard. I mean, the draft is so big here, so like through the straightaways you can really gain up on someone, and then you can kind of take it easy through the corners. So I just figured we'll just stay out, and I knew a couple other guys may have stayed out, but it was Zach stayed out. I knew Truth was going to stay out because he kind of just pitted there at the end, and somebody else stayed out. So I had 3-car buffer there, and I knew as soon as I got to the zone, I had to go. So yeah, I was kind of just everything was out front, don't look behind, and put the pedal to the floor.
That's definitely a great run for you. Fantastic race win. Is early in the going probably wasn't exactly where you thought you were going to end up at in victory lane, but hey, it's a great way to end the night. But anybody you'd like to thank help you pick up your race win here at Pocono today?
Yeah, as always, you guys for coming to do the broadcast and putting this up, and then Andrew and them guys, everyone who makes this league possible. It's great racing with these guys every week.
And again, that was your leader, your winner, and also leader at the end of this race, joining us here up top in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth. We want to thank all the drivers for joining us post-race. We appreciate their time breaking down the competition out there on the racetrack. Ultimately, as Jacob Blake just went on a mission on that overtime restart. Looked like he had 1,000 horsepower in a Nissan GTR all-wheel drive underneath that Mustang, and how he checked out on the competition. That's really what stood out to me, just how clutch he was in that moment when you have to rise to the occasion and just go to that next level. He executed it flawlessly, in my opinion, and what a race to watch. Before we get out of here, Ron, what was your final thoughts, your takeaways from tonight?
Final thoughts. I feel like they kind of let us down a little bit. Didn't see the tunnel turn utilized as much as I thought it would be. I didn't see anybody try the outside line. Knowing that those guys were going to try to dive the corner and try to take away the bottom. Didn't see the aggressiveness in the tunnel turn. But other than that, the racing 4 wide especially, that was stood out in my books as far as a debut here.
Yeah, and I want to thank you for that. I appreciate you taking time out of your Thursday evening. I know you have another broadcast as soon as we wrap up to join me here on Racers Elite Network. It's an honor and privilege, and I can't wait to cover all the high fly and high octane racing action with you every step of the way of the season.
Most definitely, it's been a fun night here at Pocono, and we look forward to seeing what the rest of the series schedule has to offer as we roll through our Thursday evenings.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for all good things that must come to an end, including this broadcast. I want to thank all the partner sponsors, all the men and women that show up, that work behind the scenes to make this great league possible. Without your support, it would not be possible. And as the late, great Tony Trapasso used to say, as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor, don't play in traffic, and we'll see you next time right here on Racers Elite Network.